modern art in Rio de Janeiro. Here we have an exhibition by Jose Bachara, one of the most important Brazilian artists working today. These paintings of his, this one in particular, is very interesting because it uses time as an element of the construction of the work. It's built on canvas that was the tarp that is used in trucking to cover trucks. So the tarp already has its own history, a history of travel, motion, rain, and other physical elements that already afflict that tarp. And you can see these elements here. And this is very interesting because Jose himself spoke about how much he likes the fact that he already starts with a canvas that comes with its own history. And then he works on top of it with his own lines and geometric patterns, which of course go back to Brazilian concretism, which is a movement from the 50s and 60s. And here he brings back the design using elements of the time itself. The time itself improves. For example, he lays down pieces of metal or other things that cause rust to accumulate. So he uses paint, rust, etc. to create his geometric figures, but these geometric figures are also they're tied into time as much as the tarp is tied into time. So these works, while being abstract and geometric and related to the history of Brazilian concretism, have his own personal stamp on it. Some of the issues that he works with, which we will explore today. Issues such as time. Another great work by Jose Bachara. Here he continues this modernist tradition of Brazilian constructivism, concretism actually, using panes of glass. There's a number of great pieces here using glass. And glass is wonderful because it's, on the one hand, it's another geometric shape, and on the other hand, it's transparent. So it's both a shape or a field that floats in front of another field, and at the same time, it's transparent. So it lets us inside the piece. And at the same time, because it's reflective, it reflects the viewer and the environment. Particularly the viewer. The viewer cannot escape the reflection, his own reflection in the pieces of glass. So the viewer becomes part of the experience of the work of art. And he also works, as you see, with pieces of glass that are opaque and pieces of glass that are clear. And that creates another form of dialogue and tension between the various panes or rectangles or areas that are floating here. And he also does a beautiful treatment on the classic cube, which he uses in a lot of his work. So cubes such as this one here, except that this cube is very interesting because this is an actual cube made out of wood or whatever. But it's also reflected over there. You know, there's a reflection of the cube, and there's another cube over there, which is behind the glass, the opaque glass. And the cube there, it loses its form and becomes just a almost pure light or pure paint. So he messes with these ideas of these rectangular shapes, rectangular and square shapes that are part of abstract of the language of abstract work for the last 40 years. But he does it in a very new and interesting way. especially using glass. Beautiful works here by Jose Bachara. Another work by Jose Bachara. We've already talked about the glass fields, the glass paint. Same thing here, except he has done something here. You really see this interaction between the viewer that's standing in front of this work and the work itself. Because since we are reflected in this work, we're also brought into this work. And I particularly like these day glow pieces of wood that he has positioned here, because it seems almost like a sketch done with a magic marker or something. And you have that sketch that again alludes to the geometric shapes, but you also have the glass. And there's a wonderful game between one and the other, which makes these works very, very interesting and very profound. Particularly, as I said, because of the way that they involve the viewer in the reflections. Which is to say, by the way, I wanted to make a point about this. Normally, we flee from our reflections in works of art. That's why there is even special glass that's sometimes sold to cover works of art that is non-reflective, right? We flee from that reflection. Not with him. He invites us into the works of art by making our reflection, our presence, part of the work. Here we have Jose's sculptural installations. He works a lot with cubes. They are distributed through this museum. And the interesting thing about these works is that they seem like they're solid, like they're all part of in other words, that they're welded together. That this is the way they're exhibited. In fact, they're not welded at all. They were essentially constructed by him for this site, and they're movable. They're movable, and also they're very interesting because they're very fine. Even though some of them are very heavy. For example, over there, those balls of marble, they weigh about 2 tons. But here, even though some of his work is heavy, it comes across as incredibly light. That 2-ton piece of marble looks like a beach ball, you know. And so he manages to work with things that are heavy, which are at the same time very light. They almost seem like little architectural designs. And depending on how the light falls on this thing, you see that some of the lines are more delineated, more obvious, and some are less so. And this is some of the beauty of this work, is that it kind of comes on and then disappears, comes on and disappears, and is both heavy as well as very elegant and very light at the same time. Beautiful, beautiful work by Jose.